It's a Cinderella show, TV show host, about to become the Masters champion. He's got about 400 yards. It's a 5-iron. Oh, it's a beautiful swing. Oh my gosh, gorgeous, right down the middle. He's got another shot. It's an 8-iron. Just Cinderella boy, TV show host. And oh, we got all of that one too. It's a beautiful shot. He's just got a magnificent, elegant swing, just monumental. Crowd is on their feet, normally reserved Augusta crowd going crazy. Swings, oh, it's beautiful. It's in the hole. Let's start the show. Let's bring the Golf Kingdom in here. Here's our show. It's a Cinderella show. We've got Build It. We're gonna teach you golf poses and pop culture. It's Bite Your Tongue in the pop culture segment. And the Kiss segment, we're gonna use a paper towel holder to teach you how to putt better. And new segment, Toys in Golf. And we're gonna put the Cerebro on for your mental game and do a swing analysis. And then it's time to rise here in the Golf Kingdom. Are you ready to build your Cinderella story? Because it's time to build here in the Golf Kingdom.
Welcome to the #1 golf variety show in the world, the Golf Kingdom. Are you ready to build your game? Here's your host, Rob Strano.
Okay, everybody, get up, because this Build It segment is something we're all doing together. Yes, I'm going to help you learn how to pose correctly and get the right spots in the swing. So this is something great that we can all do together, because if you can't pose it, how are you going to do it when you swing? So everybody get up. You don't need a club. Maybe you can use your remote. You can pretend you have a club. Daredevil, come to the big screen. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab a club here. Whoops, club's behind me. Let's grab a club. I'm going to walk you through some of the key poses. So things you can mirror and do. As a player, I learned to imitate other great tour players, and that's how I did things. I copied what they did and was able to pose it. So first thing we're going to start with is the simple chipping poses. What we're going to do is get set up, and as we swing back, we're going to take this triangle of our arms and shoulders, move our triangle to the right till my hands clear my body, move my triangle to my left till my hands clear my body. So it's a simple setup of triangle here, and it's back and through. Come back, pose there, arms extended, keep the triangle together. Come through, arms extended, a little foot and knee movement on the trail side. So that's the first thing we want to pose, is simply posing, chipping, because you know what? That's a shot in golf. We got to be able to chip. We got to be able to move accordingly. And one thing I find in coaching sessions is players struggle with making this small little movement. This small little movement becomes one way back here and way through here, and they struggle hitting the ball 20, 30, 40 yards as you would with this. Now, let's go to a little bit longer shot, which I call kind of an L to L shot. And the pose is the triangle, and then we make an L right here with our lead arm and the shaft. So we go pose, we're gonna go L pose here, and L pose there on the front side. Arms extended, once again, the trail arm and the shaft making the L, and once again we've turned through, back foot up off the ground. So the pose is go back to your L, stop, come through to the L and stop. And one thing you can do is, I'm using the camera here, I got my prompter, I can see me and see what I'm doing. You can use a mirror to practice these positions. Now, let's talk about a really key one that we want to practice and be really good at, and that's impact position. So we want to make sure we can imitate impact. And we're going to do it two ways. We're going to do it statically and dynamically. Static meaning we're going to stand still and kind of do it, and dynamically that we're going to move to it. So growing up, one of the questions we always got asked was, what's the difference between impact and setup? So when I set up, I'm here, and when I get to impact, I'm there. Just a simple little swivel of the hips. This knee comes in, that foot rolls. So you're going to set up and swivel right here. Set up, swivel. I'm on my lead side, weight over here, back foot over, and make that little swivel and hold impact. This lines up pretty good right here. So we pose that position. So get in your mirror, get in the window at home, the reflection, and practice getting there. Now let's do it dynamically. So dynamically means we're going to go back to our L, we're going to come down, and boom, get right back to that impact position right there. So we've done it statically by just twisting right here and moving it from static setup. Now we've done it dynamically from the L to there again. If you can pose it, you can do it. Get in front of your mirror, find a reflection, and practice these poses. And it'll help you get in better spots when you swing the club. Well, bite your tongue. Let's do some pop culture. What do you say? You know I love doing it. And you know what we're actually going to do? We're going to bite our tongue. We're going to talk about how do you control the urge to hit with this club instead of swing it or let it swing. First thing I want to talk about is how does gravity help us create speed where we don't need to add a hit? So if I just put my arm out and let it free fall and hit me, that's hitting me pretty hard. It's just, I'm just letting it go dead and hit me. That's hitting me pretty hard. So I don't need to add energy or hit when, let's say, I'm chipping the ball. When I'm chipping, I'm just kind of lifting my arms and letting them fall. I'm not adding hit to it. Okay, so bite your tongue. How can that help us? I'm gonna give you 2 ways to do this drill. One way is fun and one way might be painful. And what you're literally gonna do is when you chip, bite your tongue. So take your teeth and bite your tongue lightly. So lightly bite your tongue and chip. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bite my tongue. I'm gonna chip. And I'm able to stay nice and smooth when I'm biting my tongue. So I'm biting it softly. Now to make it fun, just say you're hungry when you practice, go ahead and grab a chip. So I've got a chip here. I'm gonna put it in my mouth. I'm gonna put it all the way in there. So I've got it. I'm gonna lightly put it between my teeth and then I'm gonna swing. Like that. So, okay, so if you put the chip in there, you can hold it lightly in your teeth and you don't chop down on it. And when you chomp, that's when you add hit. So you can bite your tongue, which might be a painful outcome, or you can bite a chip and have a tasty treat when you're done. I just couldn't have a tasty treat because you know what? I got to keep talking to you guys. Now, full swing wise, I see a lot of players when they swing, they get back and they just swing as hard as they can coming down. Well, same thing. To control that, bite your tongue. Take your tongue, put it between your teeth, and take full swings and don't bite your tongue. Just keep it like that and stay nice and smooth. I have players that actually grunt when they swing. You don't want to grunt, that'd be, huh. That might have a little blood trickling down your chin because you might bite your tongue. So, disclaimer, practice this first. Don't just jump out there and bite your tongue. And once again, same thing. You can grab a chip, put it in your teeth, and swing and don't break the chip. So, there, and swing, and say, nice and smooth, like that. I just bit the chip in half because I swung hard and my teeth grit. We don't want to grit our teeth. We want to stay smooth. I'm enjoying a nice, tasty treat and taught you at the same time how to not bite your tongue and control your speed at the same time when you're chipping or swinging. Viva la putting. I've got a great kiss drill. Mwah. Keep it simple, Strano kiss to help you improve your putting. And one thing I see players do all the time is their head moves around a lot when they putt. And that's no good because you know what? In golf, the ball's not moving. We're not hitting a moving object. It's not like baseball or tennis where the ball's moving and we got to hit it. It's sitting there. And when our head moves, the bottom of our putting stroke changes. We get more angle down if we're moving forward. If we're going backwards, we kind of top the putt and get it bouncing as we go. So the question is, how do you move to feel or train yourself not to move to feel your head staying nice and still? So this is a drill one of my tour players came up with when he was stuck at home in the off season and he was working on really trying to keep his head still. He was a really good putter, but he's working on trying to keep it still. So we don't want this kind of movement when we putt where our head's going back and forth like this. And we don't want to be peaking early and looking up. We kind of want to take our stroke back and through and keep our head staying right here. And then once we've stopped the putter, then rotate and look for the ball. So here's the drill. Ready? So grab a roll of paper towels. Yeah, viva la putting. Grab a roll of paper towels. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it against the wall. So I've got it against the wall. I put my head against the end of the paper towels. And now I lean into it hard and take my putting stroke and try. It helps me keep my head nice and still. Now all of a sudden, I've got the perfect feel for a steady stroke because I can't look up. So go back, go through, hold the finish, and train yourself to hold here for as long as you can. Then come back and start over and go back and go through and hold. And then once you've done that a few times, take the paper towel away and go ahead and get set up and just take some practice strokes and you'll feel yourself staying nice and still. So paper towels, something you've got at home. Use that to practice your stroke at home. And you know what? You're going to make a bounty of putts on the golf course.
You want a golf tip that will really make this game easier? Okay, here's mine. The fastest way to get good is by finding a great coach. And the fastest way to find that person is through golfchannelacademy.com. It'll match you up with the best coaches in your area.
And now you can even schedule a new student assessment.
So, what are you waiting for?
Schedule a training session with your local coach, Rob Strano from Strano Golf Academy in Destin, Florida at stranogolf.com.
Welcome back to the Golf Kingdom, and that was a great observation you just saw to help your game. And now we're going to talk swing, and I'm going to give you knowledge. I can give you tips and all kinds of fun ways to improve your swing, your short game, your chipping, your putting, your bunker play, talk about strategy to help you get around the golf course. But sometimes I just need to talk to you about knowledge, things you need to know so that maybe when you look at your video on your phone, you can look at it and go, wait, that's not what Rob said. I'm doing that wrong. This is what I should be doing. And that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some knowledge at you. And we're going to talk about hip action and one key word. The key word is displacement. I want you to understand how the hips displace when we move. So I've got a couple stools here, and you can do this with stools, with alignment sticks, whatever you can do to measure and monitor what's going on with your hips. So I'm going to slide this one a little bit out of the way because we'll come to the trail hip in a second. But let's talk about the lead side hip. So the thing to understand is the lead side hip will displace laterally towards the back side or away from the target going back, and then it shifts forward and it actually moves past where it starts. So watch. So as I set up here, I've got a gap between the stool here. It's about that wide, 2 inches, and I'm going to cross my arms and turn back, and this hip will get farther from the stool. So I'm farther away now. I've displaced and created a bigger gap. Now, when I start down, I shift past where I started. You can see I'm on this chair now. I'm on the stool. So I start here, I create a bigger gap, and then I move forward and get my hip against the stool. But it's only that much. I'm not starting with a big gap, getting a bigger gap, and then getting a gigantic slide where I look like this. It's just a little bit of forward movement to get the correct displacement here forward. Super important as you understand how do you get there coming down. Now, the backswing. Let's slide that one out. Bring the backswing in. So I'm actually going to start a little bit off, an inch off this stool. And when I go back, my hip should bump into it. It's not a gigantic move with the hip. It's just a little bitty shift to the trail side. And I get against this stool and I get there. In the backswing, I see several players, they'll get here and they go back and they grow distance here. It's not the same as this hip. It's different. We shift into it, then we stay here going back. It's not a sway of the hip because I've only got that little 1 inch gap here. So it's a little itty bitty shift into the stool here, and then coming down, when I displace, I get the gap. So knowledge, understanding, when you're looking at your video, and I know you're all are videoing out there, understanding how do these hips move correctly. This isn't a ding-dong hip action when we're doing this. It's a little shift here, get displacement, little shift forward, turn through, and hit it. Knowledge. This will help you as you study your game and improve. Time for one of my favorite segments, which is It's Just Hot Air, brought to you by my friends at Executive Air. Cooling, refrigeration, heating, they do it all for you. And I kind of do it all for you in this segment where I talk about the myths and misconceptions in golf. Yeah, the things your buddies are telling you, or maybe you're reading, or maybe you're thinking about trying that aren't true. They're not the right things. And we're going to talk about a dreaded word today. We're going to talk about the word shank. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it because I know how to fix it. I can fix it in your game. I can fix it in anybody's game. And you know what? You get them, you're afraid to say the word like it's some sort of voodoo. No, it's the word shank. Shank, 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 shank. Who cares? I can fix it, but you're fixing it the wrong way. A shank is hit when the club comes through and is open and doesn't square and get into the ball. So the club comes through that way and isn't square and hits the ball. But you think simply, since you're hitting it in here, that if you move the ball out to the toe, that you'll fix the shank. No, all you're gonna do is still come through this way and hit the shank periodically. So you have to understand, shank is a face rotation hit most of the time. The face never rotates back to square. And moving it out to the toe of the club, moving it out there, doesn't help cure that shank. It's a myth. It's not what you need to do. So think about this. Every time I see a player comes to me and the golf ball's out there in their setup, or it's like I've had players that come to me like this with the ball out here. They're moving the club, having to move it in to get it behind the ball. They think by getting out there, they'll be fine. No, now the club's moving in as it comes down, and guess what? The hossel's moving back in, and it's still open, and you still shank it. That doesn't fix the shanks. Shank, 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 shank. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of the shot. I'm not afraid of fixing it because I know how to do it. And this myth and misconception, this it's just hot air moment will help you too. And remember, it's brought to you by our friends at Executive Air. They've got all your heating, cooling, and refrigeration needs. Be sure to visit them and get them to help your air. Let's have some fun with a totally new segment called Toys in Golf. Yes, something you have around the house, maybe if you have kids, are toys. And we're gonna go Lego today. Everybody loves Legos, and it's something to help your short game. It's chipping minifigures, and we've got some minifigures here on the set to look at, so check this out. Daredevil, we've got, look at this, go low. We've got Rachel and Ross from Friends, and then Sheldon and Penny from The Big Bang Theory, and at the end, two beloved Star Wars characters, Han and Chewbacca. And what you're gonna do is, you're gonna chip them with your golf club into something. So I've got a Kingdom crown set up here. I've got our crowns. Let's go back to the wide view. I've got our crown set up. It's a little more than a club length away. And if I can chip a minifigure and clip it off the ground and make it land in a target, I can pretty much hit a golf ball. So there goes Rachel. Oh, just a little short. Here comes Ross. Let's get Ross to go. A little short with Ross, but I clipped him. Okay, Sheldon, let's see how you fly. Oh, hit the crown. I need a little bigger swing, but I'm clipping it good. Here goes Penny. I'm gonna clip Penny off there. Oh, just a little long. Now we get to Han Solo. He's used to flying. Let's see, I'll clip him off there. Just a little short. Last one, it's Chewie. Oh my gosh, the beloved Wookiee. Be free, Chewie, fly, fly away. Oh, just a little long, but I clipped them all off there. I hit them clean, so when I bring a golf ball in, if I can clip a minifigure off there, I sure as heck can clip a golf ball. Look at that, right into the crown. So toys, minifigures, Legos, use them to help your short game. Alexa, open Golf Kingdom.
Welcome to Golf Kingdom. Here's your golf tip of the day.
Welcome to the Golf Kingdom. I am your host, Rob Strano, and here is today's Pro Pointer. Alexa, stop. If you want more pro pointers from me via your Amazon-enabled skill at the Golf Kingdom, be sure to go there and enable it. Every day I give you a new tip, free, with your Amazon-enabled device. So enable the Golf Kingdom and you'll get a tip from me, your host, Rob Strano, every day. Well, we've got me loaded into Cerebro here. I'm in the chamber. I've got the Cerebro helmet on. Let me get connected with you guys here for mental game. So I'm connecting with all the golf people out there. I'm seeing them. Got you guys. Let's talk mental game. Let's talk proper practice and how to mentally be right when you practice. And I'm going to give a great example of how to be precise, because I had a player the other day that said, well, that was close enough. I said, close enough, not close enough. We've got to be specific in what we do. So my son was a quarterback. He worked with one of the top quarterback coaches in the country named Roger Theater. And Roger will work with Steve on, when he's practicing throwing, getting his elbow through his chin. Every throw, whether he was tossing the ball to somebody or making a throw on a little out route or something, elbow was through the chin so that when he got in a game and someone was going to hit him hard in his blind side here, his elbow would come down a little bit, but it wouldn't be down here because his practice was low. So specific, detailed practice, that's what we need. When you're doing something, you want to be detailed and specific with it. Don't just say that's close enough. No, keep working till you've got it right on where you want it. That's what we want, so that when you get on the golf course, it's not so out of control. That's what we got to do. We've got to be right on where we want to be, and you'll be just right when you got the pressure on. Now, here's a tribute to Roger Theater, my son's coach, and his detailed practice. one of our great show sponsors is the #1 equipment company in golf, TaylorMade. And we're going to talk about golf equipment here, and I'm going to have fun with you. I'm going to give you a quiz about golf clubs and see if you can get the right answer. And I've got one of the high toe wedges here from TaylorMade. And I want to ask you this simple question. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to give it to you in multiple choice. Here you go. What's the most expensive part of this club? Is it A, the club head, which is really cool with the high toe and the grooves that go all the way out, the shaft, okay, B, okay, so club head A, B shaft, C grip, or is it D something else? So think about it for a second. This piece, A, is this the most expensive part? Or is it shaft B, grip C, or something else D? What might something else be? If you said A, B, or C, guess what? You're wrong. It's D, something else. The most expensive part of this club is the R&D that goes into it. Yeah, the guys behind the scenes on the computers that are doing all the computer work, building all the models of this club head, this shaft. How is this going to perform? How do the grooves work when they go all the way out to the edge of the face here? How does the high toe perform? All these things. When we take the weight out of the flange here, how does it make this fly? So all the people behind the scenes that are building this club, they're the most expensive part of this piece of equipment. And what it needs to help tell you is this. When you're trying to make this club perform, you're not trusting the R&D. These are smart people building great equipment at TaylorMade. You need to trust the R&D and your fitters. I'm one of the best fitters in America for TaylorMade. And I'll tell you what, when I fit you in a club, it's built to perform. So don't try to fight the club, because we're building you clubs and great TaylorMade clubs to help you perform. Let the club work for you. Well, you may not be a tour player, but one of the fun things to do is to look at tour player swings and maybe pick out 1 or 2 things that can help your game. And we've got the champion golfer of the year, Shane Lowry, on our 60-inch screen, and we're going to pick apart a couple key things to help your swing. Now, Shane Lowry and I, standing side by side, will never be confused for being kin or relations. He's a big guy, he's a heavy guy. So if you're a big guy, thick through the chest, thick arms, maybe a little bit extra around the middle, bigger around the middle, this is a body type that you kind of want to look at and learn from. Now, let's get his swing up here on the 60-inch screen. We're going to start it off, great setup. We're going to run this swing back a little bit till the club is right at this vertical spot. Stop right there. Okay, so here's the thing to look at and notice if you're a big, thick guy. This club is very vertical. It's pointed down between his toes and the ball. It's not pointed this way at a shallow angle. It's very vertical. His hands are very much right in front of him. They aren't deep behind him. So he's working very much up and down. Big, thick, heavy, strong guys. We got to use these big muscles in our upper body. Imagine if I had a railroad spike tapped into the side of the studio here, and I gave you a sledgehammer, and I said, hit it with a sledgehammer. You wouldn't take the sledgehammer and go that way with it. Let me grab a stick here. You wouldn't take the sledgehammer and go that way with it. You take it and go up and down and go bang. That's what Shane Lowry's doing. He's going up and down. Go to the top now of his swing. You'll see he's very up. Now come down to impact. So he's coming down to impact. Boom, right there in impact. You can see he's delivering with his upper body. Very quiet lower body. His hips haven't turned wide open. I can only see the one pocket here go through to the finish. You'll see his upper body finish the swing. Very calm lower body. Now we're going to look at it again here and we'll go through it real quick. You're going to see setup. Here he comes back. You're going to see this club come up vertical in front of him, hands in front of him to the top. Upper body drives down, lower body's following, and he turns through as his upper body is pulling him around. Big, strong guys. We got to use these big, strong pieces. That's what we want. Get this club in front of you like a sledgehammer. Drop it down in front of you like you're driving a spike in the middle of a railroad tie. And I'll tell you what, your swing will improve and you'll play a lot better because you're swinging your way. My time to rise question for you is this. What's the purpose of a practice swing? Why do we take a practice swing? Well, you know what it is? It's to feel a good swing, to feel what you want to do. But do you take it far enough? Do you also envision and imagine a perfect shot? And more importantly, do you feel solid contact? Do you feel the club hit the ball solidly? When I take a practice swing, I feel the ball hit the club solidly, and I see the shot I want. And you know what? That envisioning thing, that imagination thing, that's important in golf. We want to feel and see the positive things. And the same thing goes in our day-to-day lives. We get wrapped up in overthinking and over-imagining things. We get a meeting coming up or someone we've got to talk to about something, and we imagine the worst. We imagine, oh my gosh, they're going to be mad at me, or this isn't going to go well. And you know what? When it happens, you go, gosh, that wasn't anything to be worried about. That wasn't anything bad. But we do the same thing, whether it's a practice swing and feeling the shot. We envision a bad shot. We don't ever feel it hit the club solid, or we have those things that are going on in our lives and our mind gets away from us and we overthink. So over a golf shot, practice swing, feel and think what you want it to have happen. In life, same thing. Don't let your brain run away from you. Don't overthink, and get up there and hit a good shot and think a good thing. Well, that was another fun episode of the Golf Kingdom. We used Legos to help your short game and paper towels to help your putting. Who would have thought we could have done that? Thanks for being here. As always, jump out on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Speaking of channels, if you're an Amazon user, we can go double there. Amazon Fire TV, download the Golf Kingdom channel and watch all our past episodes. And if you have an Alexa device, you can say, Alexa, enable the Golf Kingdom still, and you can get a tip from me, your host, Rob Strano, every day via your Alexa device. And one more TV channel, if you're a Roku user, download our channel there and you'll get all the shows to watch. Thanks again for being here with me on the Golf Kingdom.